Hey guys, what's going on? InsidiousSwede back again here for another YouTube video, and today I wanted to talk about how to prevent your manga from yellowing. I'm honestly doing this video because of popular demand. Over the years I've gotten, this question so many times, hey Swede, I'm new to manga. How do I prevent my pages from yellowing? Or just in general, hey, I've been collecting for a while, I've noticed my pages are getting yellow. What can I do to stop this? Now, there are a lot of misconceptions about yellowing pages that I want to talk about. First off, just take your standard volume of manga from Viz Media, could even be something from Kodansha, doesn't matter which company. I always hear the argument when I hear, a video like this or see a blog about this same topic. They always argue that because of the paper quality, yellowing manga is inevitable. I always hear the page quality is not as good compared to like a novel, so just expect them to go yellow. This is false. Let me even prove it to you. I have 2 volumes here from 2007. This is a first printing of Parasite Volume 1, and this is a first printing, I believe. I didn't even check if it was, although I do know for a fact this volume did come out in 2007, so whether it's a first edition or 5th edition, doesn't matter. This came out in 2007, this came out in 2007. I've had this in my collection for 6 years. I bought it new. I've had this in my collection and I bought it used. And here is the difference. Both these volumes came out the same year, and that's the difference. One was been in my collection for the majority of its lifespan, Parasite. The other was not, was bought used. And there you go. This is a misconception. Manga can stay completely white if you do, things correctly. The other misconception that I've heard about manga and yellowing is the argument for a plastic sleeve. Now, this isn't actually a plastic sleeve for manga. This is a random Blu-ray sleeve that I got off of one of my movies, but the idea is still the same. I see a lot of people wrap their manga, their collection into, thin plastic, whether it be a flimsy, thin kind of wavy sleeve, or even into a hard plastic shell, neither of which will protect your manga. This is something very important to note. UV light can still penetrate a plastic, coating or sleeve or shell. So wrapping your manga in plastic, expecting it to keep it from yellowing, will not actually work, especially if you're in high humidity areas. I don't live anywhere like that. I live in the northwest of America, so it's basically never humid here, but down in like Louisiana or Florida or another part of the country or the world where it's very humid like South America, manga does not do well in, wet temperature or wet humidity. So actually putting it in plastic will make it worse because it actually traps the humidity in there with it. And because paper absorbs water, it's only exacerbating your problem in the first place, the one you're trying to prevent. So here are my, guidelines, you could say, on how to keep your manga from yellowing. 1, don't use plastic. It's not going to do you any good. 2, the big one. This one really will solve all your problems. Just keep it out of the sunlight. It's that simple. I have blackout curtains, or what essentially are blackout curtains. And no, you don't have to be a mole person and live in the darkness 24/7 to keep your manga from yellowing. But just know, every time light, or I should say the sun, the UV rays penetrate paper, it will begin the yellowing process. So as long as you can prevent that, your pages will not yellow. Now, another thing I'd like to point out about all of this is that it's not really, fun to keep your manga, say, shoved in a basement, locked up in a box. As collectors, as I am, as I'm assuming a lot of you are, you really don't want to keep your manga in boxes or in a basement. You want to display them because, you have a lot and you're probably proud of them. Hopefully you are. So you want to display them like this, and you don't want to live in complete darkness. So there are some other things you can do as well. 1, you can also keep it in cool temperature. This is another one I know a lot of people forget about. Keeping it in a, it doesn't have to be like 50 degrees. It's not a beverage. You can keep it really just in a general temperature range but just keep it in a mild to cold setting, and that will go a long way as well to preventing your pages from yellowing. Again, if you are in a more humid area, a more humid climate, you can also, and I'm sure if you're living there, you know exactly what I'm talking about because they're probably more prevalent there. They sell these containers which actually trap the humidity and pull the moisture from the air. I see a lot of comic book collectors doing this. They have these like little boxes or like little buckets kind of sitting around their collection, and what they do is prevent the moisture from getting to the books and suck it into this thing where you can dump out the water later. Again, if you're living in somewhere like Florida, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. I've never bought one, so I have no idea what they're called, but that's also a big thing you can do again. So, and another thing as well, keeping it out of the light is important, but it's not like you have to do it 24/7. I have my, my shades open a lot, and as you can see, my manga, it doesn't yellow. It stays pretty white. I never really had, have an issue with manga staying white. Just constant sunlight is really what you're worried about. Hot weather with, beating sunlight, it's going to yellow your pages 100% of the time. But if you follow these few things, you can keep them pretty white. Another example, let's see here. I have volume 2 of Ice Shield 21, and I have volume 1 of Blood Lad. This volume I've had in my collection for 6 years. This one I bought used 2 years ago, and there you go. One's yellow, one's not. So really, it's not too hard. And again, it is a misconception. You can 100% of the time keep your pages from yellowing if you follow these things. It's not inevitable. Don't worry, it is preventable. And again, I'm sure to a lot of you, it's not a big deal. To others who are interested in this, hopefully this video helped. Again, for me and my own personal taste, I'd prefer if I could keep all of my manga, white, but at the end of the day, if it happens, it happens. It's not going to be the end of the world for me. And so long as you're doing, at least you're keeping it in the back of your mind, more often than not, your manga will stay in really good condition. So just keep all of these things in mind. Hopefully this video helped if you are searching for answers to keep your manga or to stop your manga from yellowing further. Hopefully this answered your questions. If you have any more, definitely let me know down in the comments. I do not have any problems answering any further questions at all. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, guys. But anyways, until next time, my name is InsidiousSwede. Take care.